Hi everyone, this is Julianne Victoria of Through the Peacock's Eyes. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the 2021 Year Ahead Vedic Astrology readings. These readings will be based on your Vedic Astrology ascendant or moon sign. You can listen to both to kind of get a fuller picture of the year ahead. If you don't know your Vedic Astrology ascendant or moon sign, you can Google search a free online Vedic Astrology calculator and you should be able to get those there. Make sure it says it is Vedic Astrology or Indian Astrology or Sidereal Astrology so you can get the correct signs. And they'll likely to be a sign different than your Western astrology ones, though there is a little overlap in there as well. Now, during these videos, I may reference a few of the things, the books, the decks I've created that I created to help other people learn Vedic astrology. The first one is my book, Shedding Light on Jyotisha, Vedic Astrology for Beginners, and I have a video or two on my channel where I talk about that a little bit more in depth, but the links are all down below in the description box if you're interested in checking that out. I also have a Vedic Astrology Oracle and the Vedic Astrology Study Deck, which would be a great tool to learn Vedic astrology. I also have a course, Shedding Light on Your Karma and Dharma in Vedic Astrology. It's a mini course. It's about an hour and a half long. Bunch of little videos broken up, and it's only $11. Again, the link is below if you want to check that out to start to learn how to look at your chart and look at your karma and dharma. Like, why are you here? What are you here to do? What are you here to learn? How are you here to grow? I will be hopefully soon in the new year have my next course, which I go through the nakshatras in Vedic astrology. Journey through the nakshatras is probably the title. I haven't officiated that yet. So hopefully that will be out soon or in the early part of 2021. And if you're interested in a reading for the year ahead, Vedic astrology, I also do Western astrology, tarot readings. Those you can purchase on my website. I will be reopening readings November 22nd or so. I've been closed for a while to focus on my book. So you can sign up for my newsletter to be notified or just check back to my website, juliannevictoria.com. Again, links are all below if you want to book a reading with me or schedule a recorded reading for the year ahead for you. Okay, all that being said, let's move on to your horoscope for the year ahead. The charts you will see will be charts laid out based on your ascendant or moon sign. So you, the viewer, can have a clearer understanding of where the transits are as the year begins and how that lays out for you for the year ahead. All right, thank you everyone and enjoy your reading. Hi Libra, welcome to your year ahead Vedic astrology reading or horoscope. So I pulled up a chart for January 1st, so the placement of the planets for the year ahead, and that's sort of gonna give you a look at the year ahead without actually seeing what's going on in your natal chart. But this is where the planets will lay on top of your natal chart. So I pulled up the chart with Libra in the first house. So house numbers are here on the perimeter. The signs are within the houses here, and the ones in color are the planets. So looking at the year ahead, we're going to focus on mostly the outer planets, Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn, and Rahu and Ketu, the nodes, but we'll look at the placement of the more personal planets as well and just see what energies they're laying out for you for the year ahead. And again, you can listen to this if you're a Libra ascendant or Libra moon. So let's start with Saturn and Jupiter here together in the sign of Capricorn. I did make a video talking about their energies and their little dance in and out of the same signs for a couple years. I'll link that. I'll pin that to the top of the comments below for you to check out if you want to check that out. But as you can see, as the year begins, they are in a tight conjunction within 1 degree in Capricorn, and this is your 4th house. So 4th house is the house of home, family, property. It's also mother, past lives, past karma, and so on. But for the most part, it's going to play out in your home and your family and your property type of energy. That can also include vehicles. So let's start with Saturn. Saturn rules the sign of Capricorn. He is very strong here. He's very happy. It's Saturn's home. And Saturn energy in the 4th house, especially when he's very strong, is to solidify your family, your home or your possessions. It's very grounding energy, but two, Saturn likes foundations. He likes solid foundations. So let's say if you're living somewhere and it's sort of up in the air if your lease will be continued or whatnot, you'll want to move somewhere where you're going to have stability, actually for the next couple of years or so, because Saturn will be here for quite some time into 2022. So you'll want to move somewhere that's more stable. If you're living in a stable home, you own a home, or you love, the place you're renting and things are great, you'll want to, just affirm those foundations. You'll want to, there's an energy of being very settled and grounded and secure where you live and within your family. So if there's family dynamics that are causing a lot of stress, that make you feel unsafe, unstable, you'll want to address that, remove that, or move, or whatever it is you need to do. But at the same time, you could see this because Saturn's energy is so strong in his own sign of Capricorn, that stabilization to your home and family life will also play out. But you can't just sit back and do nothing. You have to also take action. Now, Jupiter, so I've been saying, if you watch my videos, that Saturn in this conjunction here in Capricorn, Saturn has the upper hand. And one, that's because Saturn rules Capricorn, but Jupiter's debilitated in Capricorn. So Jupiter debilitation sort of weakens the planet's energy, but it doesn't mean Jupiter's energy is all gone. And it doesn't mean that the Saturn-Jupiter dynamics need to be way out of balance. A lot of people dread Saturn energy. Saturn returns and Sadasatis are sort of dreaded times, and they are challenging times. But those challenges are there to teach us. And they often teach us to slow down, to be patient, to face obstacles that come. And sometimes it's just they're there because it's not the right time and you don't want to force things to happen. So with Jupiter's energy here, with strong Saturn, Jupiter brings growth and expansion, often said to be, he is the most auspicious planet. He does have his negative side, like all planets and houses and signs do, which is excess. But this tempers his excess. And I feel that's important to say to you, Libra. Jupiter's excess is tempered. And this is in relation to fourth house of home and family and property. So if you're tempted to buy something that you don't need to, or, you're Libra, you're ruled by Venus, you want to beautify your home, this will keep you from overspending and doing too much, so to speak. It could also, this combination, let's say you own a home and you want to remodel, there could be some delays with this combination of energy, but those Saturn delays are for a reason, and it could have to do with the actual structure of your home. Let's say you want to remodel the basement and then you realize, but we need to redo the foundation if we do that. And then you learn that, there's a plumbing issue. And other things can come up, which may seem like big headaches and obstacles, but that's just there so you can deal with it, take care of it. And that Saturn energy is to fix that, maybe literally, foundation of your home. And then you can expand upon it. So if you work with these two energies together, and that's just one example, it can play out in many ways because you're all different people. And your charts, even though you're all Libras, the planets and everything else are going to be different for each person. Work with this energy of, expansive Jupiter, tempered, but if you allow, supported by Saturn's discipline. Okay. Now, Jupiter is here until mid-April, and then he moves into Aquarius until September. And then he moves back into Capricorn until the end of November. So he's kind of back and forth a little bit. When Jupiter is in the fifth house, and this is the only planet I'm going to talk about a transit during the year because he is a big, big influence. When Jupiter is in your fifth house of creativity, romance, and children, He is much freer in the Aquarius energy, even though Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, but Jupiter's not debilitated in any way in Aquarius. He's freer, like you'll feel freer to create, to do things. And because it is also a house of children, possibly for those who are, let's say, for example, you want to get a bigger home, or you want to remodel a home, or you need to move so you can build that foundation so you can have children. The getting pregnant or possibly even like giving birth will more likely happen when Jupiter is in Aquarius. Of course, it depends on your own natal chart. But, or that might just be when you're like, you get a breather and things are settling, you know, because then you'll only have Saturn in your fourth house and things will stabilize with that energy. And then you'd be like, hey, maybe let's start a family now. So again, work with the Saturn and Jupiter energy. If things keep coming up and you're not able to expand your home, however that might be, whether it's redecorating a room or moving or remodeling or just finding a stable one, just be patient with it, because Saturn wants to help us long term, and he's not going to give us a quick fix because that won't last. Okay, so let's look at the nodes now. So we have Rahu here. Rahu is North Node in the 8th house in Taurus. And we have Ketu here in your 2nd house in Scorpio. They're always opposite each other. They will be in these signs for the entire year. We have Rahu, the head of the snake, motivation, ambition. I wanted to say force. Interesting. Force as in power. Interesting. That normally doesn't come up, but it came up for you. So motivation and power, your force. In the sign of Taurus, also ruled by Venus, your ruler Libra. In the 8th house of death, change, transformation, the house of the occult, the mysterious, that which is buried and hidden, as well as secrets, among many other things. With Rahu here, there is a great desire to explore the occult, the hidden. Astrology is included in 8th house. To explore the esoteric or esoterica of religions and spiritual beliefs, or life, or your life, whatever that means for you. To dig deep. I just got genealogy for some. To dig deep into your genealogy, into the roots, into the past of where you've come from. And that actually plays in with 4th house energy, which is family, which includes ancestors. Interesting. And Rahu and Jupiter do have drishtis on each other. Saturn doesn't have a drishti here. Drishtis or aspects are very specific in Vedic astrology, but Rahu has a drishti on Saturn. But Rahu and Jupiter have mutual drishtis here. So for some, I feel it might be a motivation to dig into your ancestry and genealogy. And I want to say for some of you to understand where your power comes from. That's very interesting. For others, it could be understanding, I'll say the mysteries of life and death. So take that, whatever it means for those of you out there for whom that resonates. And not everything I say will resonate for everyone, because this is a general reading on a general Libra chart. Ketu. Ketu is the planet, not actual physical body, but we call him planet, of the past lives, past karma, in a transitory chart like this, to look at a year ahead. And I felt this for the Virgo reading, which I did. You're the second one I'm doing, and I'm feeling it. Well, this is true for all of them. Is that Ketu is representing very strongly this past year of 2020. And I think I said in the Virgo reading where we're coming from, what we're coming out of in 2021. Not immediately on January 1st, but where we're coming out of into this year. So Ketu is here in Scorpio, in the 2nd house. And I should point out, Rahu and Ketu in these signs, by many sources, are considered exalted. But I've also seen other sources that say they're debilitated. I feel like the nodes, Rahu and Ketu, are strong wherever they are. So I don't emphasize that with the nodes, because there's also, Sagittarius and Gemini where they're said to be exalted or debilitated. So there's questions on that for those who are like, hey, wait a minute. Okay, so we have K2 here, second house of gains, money, possessions, finances. I often call it the house of stuff. And it's conjoined here Venus, which is creativity, but also luxury. Venus is very happy in the second house, typically. Luxury, nice things, arts, music, the beautiful voice. And this combination, what I'm feeling, what you're coming out of, or what maybe you can even see it as a lesson, because K2 can represent spiritual wisdom, what you've gained from the past year. And you may not know that on January 1st, but you'll come to understand that throughout the year of 2021, is what really has value for you and what truly is beautiful for you. What are the things, the possessions you really love? And second house, I should mention, also house of self-worth. I feel many Libras have learned, and I do want to say for some of you might have been the hard way, so I'm sorry if there were like lots of difficulties this past year. You may have learned the hard way what is truly worthy or of value to you, and where your self-worth comes from. And the hard way would be realizing it's not your possessions and stuffs. So I'm sorry if you've actually lost something, because K2 can represent loss as well in a house of gains. But what have you, basically the question is, what have you gained from the losses of the past year? And that actually plays out a little bit with Rahu here, because 8th house as a house of death and change also implies loss. And it's like, what motivation and what power has come to you through what you may have lost in the past year, whether it was physical things or hopefully not a loved one, but I'm sorry if you have, or, a belief loss, things like that. And a lot of that may really be part of the drive to understand the mysteries of life and death, or the mysteries of life and the occult and the esoteric. So it's a very powerful energy here, at least that I'm picking up for you, Libra, with the Rahu Ketu transit. Okay. The moon, as the year begins, is in its own sign of Cancer, a very strong emotional placement. I was going to say good, but it's more like it's strong emotional placement. And this is in your 10th house of career. So if you're not already asking this and following this, you're going to be asking yourself, how do I feel about my career path? And is this really what I want to do? Is this what I feel in my heart? And I would say trust your intuitive guidance when it comes to career. Mars is also in his own house, in his own sign of Aries. So very strong as well. In your 7th house of relationships. So Aries, as the first sign of the zodiac, has strong impetus energy. It's initiatory, and Mars, its ruler, is here for you. There's a lot of drive, if you're not in a relationship already, to begin one this year. The energy may be strong enough that it just happens without you trying. Of course, you have to say yes to go on that date or ask someone out. You have to take some action, right, with Mars. But there's a lot of, I want to say, impetus towards relationships, specifically, potential partner, spouse, but any close relationships. This can also play out in business partnerships. So there's a lot of drive and energy there. And if you're already in a relationship, business partnership, or this could even be like your bestie, your closest friends, Mars rules, physical activity. So you might be doing lots of activities, sports and stuff with your partner, your spouse, your best friend, or just doing a lot of stuff with whoever your close partners and relations are. So a lot of activity there is what I'm feeling. And lastly, as the year begins, we have the Sun and Mercury here in the sign of Sagittarius in the 3rd house Third house is communications, writing, technology, your community, your neighbors, also siblings. Um, I feel communication wise in this year ahead, Libra, with the sun here, and I'm feeling a lot of joy energy with the sun for these year ahead readings. In a natal chart, the sun represents your soul. But this is a general reading here, so I'm feeling a lot of like, where is your greatest joy with the sun's placement? And it's with like hanging out with your neighbors and your community, or whatever your community is. And it is a sign of Sagittarius, and I'm getting possibly some like traveling or going on trips. And even though Sagittarius is like long distance travel, it's in the third house, which is short distance travel, which is more what I'm feeling like weekend trips or weekend visits, or like I see you hanging out with people, which is a good sign that hopefully soon in the new year the pandemic winds down or vaccine comes in, because I do see you like socializing with people, which is great. And I don't see masks in my mind's eye. So that's a good sign. At some point in 2021, things will be a little more, there'll be more closeness with community. And that the sun there is like, you're going to be so happy about that. And then of course we have Mercury. Mercury's always very close to the sun because he's close to the sun in the sky, in the heavens. Mercury represents the intellectual mind. So I see this, it's like Mercury is the natural ruler of the third house too. Lots of talking and communication, and this could be writing as well. Mercury and third house are also writing. But like for you, Libra, I'm really seeing like communicating with actual people in person. It doesn't mean that there won't be, still Zoom meetings and Skype sessions and whatever you've been doing. But I really see a lot of like talking to actual people. And that will, like with the sun, that will light you up. That will be great for you for the year ahead. So hopefully that plays out soon in the new year for everybody. All right, Libra, that is sort of the layout for the year ahead for you. Of course, it all, more personal details depends on how these transits lay out for you, or these placements lay out for you for the year ahead on top of your own natal chart. Thank you for watching. Share this with other Libras that you might know, and I'll see you back here soon.